What's up guys, it's Aiden from Aiden Tech, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the best iPhone camera settings to get the best photos and videos. Now there's a lot of settings that vary between iPhone models, but generally these settings will work on most new iPhones. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. Alright, so first what we're going to do is we're going to open the settings app and we're going to scroll down to camera. So this is where we're going to do pretty much everything. So we're going to open camera and we're just going to go from top to bottom. First we're going to open video, and for me I shoot in 4K 30 FPS. You can shoot in 1080p or 720, and some people say to shoot in 4K 60, but I just don't think that's needed. I think the best is just to shoot in 4K 30. You get the highest quality, and 30 FPS is just a traditional video. Unless you're doing slow-mo, there's no reason to shoot in 4K 60. 4K 60 also uses much more space. As you can see here, a 4K 60 video for 1 minute is 400 megabytes. That's a lot of storage that it takes up. Anyways, next we're going to be scrolling down and we're just going to focus on one thing here, and that is HDR video. So HDR is really cool, but unfortunately a lot of people say that HDR just looks really unnatural and doesn't look that good. So for me, I switch off HDR video. It's on by default, but I just find the videos just look a lot nicer when it's just shot in SDR and not HDR. Everything else here you can really just leave on normal. Some of these settings you might only see on the 14 series, but you can still play around with a few of these. Slow-mo and cinematic mode I don't use a lot, but for slow-mo it's fine just to shoot at the highest frame rate. You'll get the slowest video, but it's whatever you want. And for cinematic mode I shoot at 4K 30. Once again, it's just the highest quality that you can shoot for cinematic mode. And yeah, so this is mostly just personal preference, these two, as I don't use them very much. Next we're going to go into formats. So if we click on formats here, we got a lot of stuff to change. So the camera's set to high efficiency, and I usually shoot in high efficiency unless I'm going to be exporting to a device that does not support Apple's efficiency format, as a Windows computer can't really read those high efficiency files. So if you know you're going to be exporting to a Windows computer, I would shoot in most compatible. But for now, I'm going to switch it back to high efficiency. Next, we're going to scroll down to photo capture. So Apple ProRAW is only available on the Pro model iPhones, up from the iPhone 12 and up. So you can see here I have Apple ProRAW on. It just gives you more creative control in your photos afterwards. It just has a little bit more data in the photo that you can adjust afterwards. So for normal everyday photos, I don't shoot in RAW, but if you're really caring about a photo, I shoot in ProRAW. And if you have an iPhone 14 Pro, you have the ability to shoot with a ton of detail in 48 megapixels. So definitely have that on, just so you can access it in your camera. I have that option for RAW now to turn it off and on. Back in settings, we have ProRes. I don't use ProRes at all. Really, a very small amount of people are using this. It's mostly just for if you're really shooting professional video. It uses a lot of storage, and it just gives you more post-processing control over like color and stuff. We're gonna go out of formats, and next we're gonna go to preserve settings. Now this is very powerful. This allows you to keep settings that will always stay as their adjusted state in your camera app. So I have an exposure adjustment, and you can change these how you like. So if Apple ProRAW is turned on, it will always stay in ProRAW every time you open your camera. And for all these settings, it's the exact same. So if I have exposure adjustment on, you can see that I can adjust the exposure and it will stay like that unless I change it every time I open the camera app. And yeah, you can choose what settings you'd like to preserve here. I just have these ones set, which are my exposure adjustment and ProRAW, but nothing else I really adjust here. If I go out of this, record stereo sound, I don't see a reason why to turn that off. It just seems really cool to be able to shoot in stereo, especially for using headphones. And these other settings, they don't really affect anything. So scan QR codes, show detected text, and use volume up for burst. That almost is like a camera. You can press on the volume button. So we don't really need to worry about those. But then we can go down here. I have my grid on, as it allows me to level my camera a little bit better and use different camera techniques such as the rule of thirds. I can just see the grid, and it allows me to kind of position my camera a little bit better. And there's just some other things such as level and mirror front camera and view outside frame. Next, we scroll down to photo capture. Photographic Styles is a new thing that came out with the iPhone 13. This is really personal preference, but there's just different styles that just boost certain tones, such as a vibrant style, rich contrast style, and you can go in and change these how you'd like. But yeah, you can just, it's really personal preference how you want your photos to look, and these are just some styles that are built in for you. The last few things I got here is, we can just ignore this, but lens correction. Sometimes on the ultra wide camera and the wide camera, you can get some curve distortion on the edges, so this corrects for that, so I would just keep that on. And this is not on by default, but this is macro control. So if you get close to something, it will automatically switch into macro mode, and you really don't have control over that, and sometimes it does not look great. So macro control, when it's on, it allows you to turn off and on macro mode. If I go into my camera, you can see I have the ability to turn off and on the macro lens, so I would definitely turn that on. Lastly, we're going to go out of the camera and we're going to go into the photos. And if we go into the photos here, I have off view full HDR. I know HDR video I also don't like very much, but you can also turn off view full HDR for photos as well, and it just turns off that kind of weird HDR look to the photos if you'd like that. But you can see how it looks for you and if you want it on or off. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys have any questions about it, let me know in the comments. I'll be sure to share some photos in the future of photos I take with my iPhone camera. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video.